Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky, translated by Constance Garrett. He walked down slowly and deliberately, feverish but not conscious of it, entirely absorbed in a new overwhelming sensation of life and strength that surged up suddenly within him. This sensation might be compared to that of a man condemned to death who has suddenly been pardoned. Halfway down the staircase, he was overtaken by a priest on his way home. Raskolnikov let him pass, exchanging a silent greeting with him. He was just descending the last steps when he heard rapid footsteps behind him. Someone overtook him. It was Polenka. She was running after him, calling, "Wait, wait!" He turned around. She was at the bottom of the staircase and stopped short a step above him. A dim light came in from the yard. Raskolnikov could distinguish the child's thin but pretty face, looking at him with a bright childish smile. She had run after him with a message which she was evidently glad to give. "Tell me, what is your name and where do you live?" she said hurriedly, a breathless voice. He laid both hands on her shoulders and looked at her with a sort of rapture. It was such a joy to him to look at her. He could not have said why. "Who sent you?" "Sister Sonia sent me," answered the girl, smiling still more brightly. "I knew it was Sister Sonia who sent you." "Mama sent me too. When Sister Sonia was sending me, Mama came up too and said, 'Run fast, Polenka.'" "Do you love Sister Sonia?" "I love her more than anyone," Polenka answered with a peculiar earnestness, and her smile became graver. "And will you love me?" By way of answer, he saw the little girl's face approaching him. Her full lips naively held out to kiss him. Suddenly her arms, as thin as sticks, held him tightly. Her head rested on his shoulder and the little girl wept softly, pressing her face against him. "I'm sorry for your father," she said a moment later, raising her tear-stained face and brushing away the tears with her hands. "It's nothing but misfortunes now," she added suddenly, with that peculiarity, sedate air which children try hard to assume when they want to speak like grown-up people. "Did your father love you?" "He loved Lida more," she went on very seriously without a smile, "exactly like grown-up people. He loved her because she is little and because she is ill too, and he always used to bring her presents. But he taught us to read, and me, grammar and scripture too," she added with dignity. "And mother never used to say anything, but we knew that she liked it and father knew it too. And mother wants to teach me French, for it's time my education began." "And do you know your prayers?" "Of course we do. We knew them long ago. I say my prayers to myself as I am a big girl now. But Kolya and Lida say them aloud with mother. First they repeat the Ave Maria and then another prayer. 'Lord, forgive and bless Sister Sonia.' And then another. 'Lord, forgive and bless our second father. For our elder father is dead,' and this is another one. But we do pray for the other as well. Polenka, my name is Rodion. Pray sometimes for me too. And thy servant Rodion, nothing more. I'll pray for you all the rest of my life," the little girl declared hotly, and suddenly smiling again, she rushed at him and hugged him warmly once more. Raskolnikov told her his name and address and promised to be sure to come the next day. The child went away quite enchanted with him. It was past 10 when he came out into the street. In 5 minutes he was standing on the bridge at the spot where the woman had jumped in. "Enough," he pronounced resolutely and triumphantly. "I've done with fancies. imaginary terrors and phantoms. Life is real. Haven't I lived just now? My life has not yet died with that old woman. The kingdom of the heaven to her. And now enough. Madam, leave me in peace. Now for the reign of reason and light, and of will and of strength. And now we will see. We will try our strength, he added defiantly, as though challenging some power of darkness. And I was ready to consent to live in a square of space. I am very weak at this moment, but I believe my illness is all over. I knew it would be over when I went out. By the way, Kochenkov's house is only a few steps away. I certainly must go to Razumihin, even if it were not close by. Let him win his bet. Let us give him some satisfaction too. No matter. Strength. Strength is what one needs and one wants. You can get nothing without it, and strength must be won by strength. That's what they don't know, he added proudly and self-confidently, and he walked with flagging footsteps from the bridge. Pride and self-confidence grew continually stronger in him. He was becoming a different man every moment. What was it had happened to work this revolution in him? He did not know himself, like a man catching at a straw. He suddenly felt that he too could live, that there was still life for him, and his life had not died with the old woman. Perhaps he was in too great a hurry with his conclusions, but he did not think of that. But I ask her to remember thy servant Rodion in her prayers. The idea struck him. Well, that was in case of emergency, he added, and laughed himself at his boyish sally. He was in the best of spirits. He easily found Razumihin. The new lodger was already known at Kochenkov's, and the porter at once showed him the way. Halfway up the stairs, he could hear the noise and animated conversation of a big gathering of people. The door was wide open on the stairs. He could hear exclamations and discussions. Razumihin's room was fairly large. The company consisted of 15 people. Raskolnikov stopped in the entry, where two of the landlady's servants were busy behind a screen with two samovars, bottles, plates, and dishes of pie and savories brought up from the landlady's kitchen. Raskolnikov sent in for Razumihin. He ran out in delighted. At the first glance, it was apparent that he had had a great deal to drink, and though no amount of liquor made Razumihin quite drunk, this time he was perceptibly affected by it. Listen, Raskolnikov hastened to say, I've only just come to tell you you've won your bet, and that no one really knows what may not happen to him. I can't come in. I'm so weak that I shall fall down directly. And so good evening and goodbye. Come and see me tomorrow. Do you know what? I'll see you home. If you say you're weak yourself, you must. And your visitors, who is the curly-headed one who has just peeped out? He, goodness only knows, some friend of uncle's, I expect, or perhaps he has come without being invited. I'll leave uncle with them. He is an invaluable person. Pity I can't introduce you to him now, but confound them all now. They won't notice me, and I need a little fresh air, for you've come just in the nick of time. Another 2 minutes and I should have come to blows. They are talking such a lot of wild stuff. You simply can't imagine what men will say. Though, why shouldn't you imagine? Don't we talk nonsense ourselves? And let them. That's the way to learn. Not to. Wait a minute. I'll fetch Zozimov. Zozimov pounced upon Raskolnikov almost greedily. He showed a special interest in him. Soon his face brightened. You must go to bed at once, he pronounced, examining the patient as far as he could. and take something for the night. Will you take it? I got it ready some time ago. A powder. Two, if you like, answered Raskolnikov. The powder was taken at once. It's a good thing you are taking him home, observed Zossimov to Razumihin. We shall see how he is tomorrow. Today he is not all at amiss. A considerable change since the afternoon. Live and learn. Do you know what Zossimov whispered to me when we were coming out? Razumihin blurted out as soon as they were in the street. I won't tell you everything, brother, because they are such fools. Zossimov told me to talk freely to you on the way and get you to talk freely to me. And afterwards, I am to tell him about it. For he's got a notion in his head that you are mad or close on it. Only fancy. In the first place, you've 3 times the brains he has. In the second, if you are not mad, you needn't care a hang that he has got such a wild idea. And thirdly, that piece of beef whose speciality is surgery has gone mad on mental diseases. And what's brought him to this conclusion about you was your conversation today with Zametov. Zametov told you all about it. Yes, and he did well. Now I understand what it all means, and so does Zametov. Well, the fact is, Rodya, the point is, I am a little drunk now, but that's no matter. The point is that this idea, you understand, was just being hatched in their brains. You understand? That is, no one ventured to say it aloud because the idea is too absurd, and especially since the arrest of that painter, that bubbles burst and gone forever. But why are they such fools? I gave Zametov a bit of a thrashing at the time. That's between ourselves, brother. Please don't let out a hint that you know of it. I've noticed he is a little ticklish subject. It was at Louise Ivanova's. But today it's all cleared up. That Ilya Petrovich is at the bottom of it. He took advantage of your fainting at the police station, but he is ashamed of it himself now. I know that. Raskolnikov listened greedily. Razumihin was drunk enough to talk too freely. I fainted then because it was so close and the smell of paint, said Raskolnikov. No need to explain that. And it wasn't the paint only. The fever had been coming on for a month. Zossimov testifies to that. But how crushed that boy is now, you wouldn't believe. I am not worth his little finger, he says. Yours, he means. He has good feelings at times, brother. But the lesson you gave him today in the Palais de Cristal, that was too good for anything. You frightened him at first, you know. He nearly went into convulsions. You almost convinced him again of the truth of all that hideous nonsense. And then you suddenly put out your tongue at him. There now, what do you make of it? It was perfect. He is crushed, annihilated now. It was masterly, by Jove. It's what they deserve. Ah, that I wasn't there. He was hoping to see you awfully. Porfiry, too, wants to make your acquaintance. Ah, he too? But why did they put me down as mad? Oh, not mad. I must have said too much, brother. What struck him, you see, was that only that subject seemed to interest you. Now it's clear why it did interest you, knowing all the circumstances, and how that irritated you and worked in with your illness. I'm a little drunk, brother. Only confound him. He has some idea of his own. I tell you, he's mad on mental diseases. But don't you mind him. For half a minute both were silent. Listen, Razumihin, began Raskolnikov. I want to tell you plainly. I've just been at a deathbed, a clerk who died. I gave them all my money, and besides, I've just been kissed by someone who, If I had killed anyone, would just the same. In fact, I saw someone else there, with a flame-colored feather. But I am talking nonsense. I am very weak. Support me. We shall be at the stairs directly. What's the matter? What's the matter with you? Razumihin asked anxiously. I'm a little giddy, but that's not the point. I'm so sad like a woman. Look, what's that? Look, look. What is it? Don't you see? A light in my room. You see? Through the crack. They were already at the foot of the last flight of the stairs, at the level of the landlady's door, and they could, as a fact, see from below that there was a light in Raskolnikov's garret. Queer. Nastasia, perhaps, observed Razumihin. She is never in my room at this time, and she must be in bed long ago, but I don't care. Goodbye. What do you mean? I'm coming with you. We'll come in together. I know we are going in together, but I want to shake hands here and say my goodbye to you. So give me your hand. Goodbye. What's the matter with you, Rodya? Nothing. Come along. You shall be witness. They began mounting the stairs, and the idea struck Razumihin that perhaps Zossimon might have been right after all. Ah, I've upset him with my chatter, he muttered to himself. When they reached the door, they heard voices in the room. What is it? Cried Razumihin. Raskolnikov was the first to open the door. He flung it wide and stood still in the doorway, dumbfounded. His mother and sister were sitting on the sofa and had been waiting for an hour and a half for him. Why had he never expected, never thought of them, though the news that they had started, were on their way and would arrive immediately, had been repeated to him only that day. They had spent that hour and a half plying Nastasia with questions. She was standing before them and had told them everything by now. They were beside themselves with alarm when they heard of his running away today, ill and, as they understood from her story, delirious. Good heavens, what had become of him? Both had been weeping, both had been in anguish for that hour and a half. A cry of joy, of ecstasy, greeted Raskolnikov's entrance. Both rushed to him, but he stood like one dead. A sudden, intolerable sensation struck him like a thunderbolt. He did not lift his arms to embrace them. He could not. His mother and sister clasped him in their arms, kissed him, laughed and cried. He took a step, tottered and fell to the ground, fainting. Anxiety, cries of horror, moans. Razumihin, who was standing in the doorway, flew into the room, seized the sick man in his strong arms, and in a moment had him on the sofa. It's nothing, nothing, he cried to the mother and the sister. It's only a faint, a mere trifle. Only just now the doctor said he was much better, that he is perfectly well. Water, see, he is coming to himself. He is all right again. And seizing Donya by the arm so that he almost dislocated it, he made her bend down to see that. He is all right again. The mother and sister looked on him with emotion and gratitude as their providence. They had heard already from Nastasia all that had been done for their Rodya during his illness by this very competent young man. As Pulcheria Alexandrovna Raskolnikov called him that evening in conversation with Donya. Part 3, Chapter 1. Raskolnikov got up and sat down on the sofa. He waved his hand weakly to Razumihin to cut short the flow of warm and incoherent consolations he was addressing to his mother and sister, took them both by the hand and for a minute or two gazed from one to the other without speaking. His mother was alarmed by his expression. It revealed an emotion agonizingly poignant and at the same time something immovable, almost insane. Pulcheria Alexandrovna began to cry. Dotya Romanovna was pale. Her hand trembled in her brother's. "Go home with him," he said in a broken voice, pointing to Razumihin. "Goodbye till tomorrow. Tomorrow, everything. Is it long since you've arrived?" "This evening, Rodya," answered Pulcheria Alexandrovna. "The train was awfully late, but Rodya, nothing would induce me to leave you now. I will spend the night here, near you." "Don't torture me," he said with a gesture of irritation. "I will stay with him," cried Razumihin. "I won't leave him for a moment. Bother all my visitors. Let them rage to their heart's content. My uncle is presiding there." How can I thank you?" Pulcheria Alexandrovna was beginning, once more pressing Razumihin's hand, but Raskolnikov interrupted her again. I can't have it, he repeated irritably. "Don't worry me. Enough, go away. I can't stand it." "Come, Mamma, come out of the room, at least for a minute," Donya whispered in dismay. "We are distressing him, that's evident." "May I not look at him after 3 years?" wept Pulcheria Alexandrovna. "Stay," he stopped them. "Again. You keep interrupting me and my ideas get muddled. Have you seen Luzhin?" "No, Rodya, but he knows already of our arrival. We have heard, Rodya, that Fyodor Petrovitch was so kind to visit you today," Pulcheria Alexandrovna added somewhat timidly. "Yes, he was so kind, Donya. I promised Luzhin I'd throw him downstairs and told him to go to hell." "Rodya, what are you saying? Surely you don't mean to tell us." Pulcheria Alexandrovna began in alarm but stopped, looking at Donya. Dotya Romanovna was looking attentively at her brother, waiting for what would come next. Both of them had heard of the quarrel from Nastasia, so far as she had succeeded in understanding and reporting it, and were in painful perplexity and suspense. "Donya," Raskolnikov continued with an effort, "I don't want that marriage. So at the first opportunity tomorrow, you must refuse Luzhin, so that we may never hear his name again." "Good heavens!" cried Pulcheria Alexandrovna. "Brother, think what you are saying." Dotya Romanovna began impetuously, but immediately checked herself. "You are not fit to talk now. Perhaps you are tired," she added gently. "You think I am delirious. No, you are marrying Luzhin for my sake, but I won't accept the sacrifice. And so write a letter before tomorrow to refuse him. Let me read it in the morning, and that will be the end of it." "That I can't do," the girl cried, offended. "What right have you?" "Donya, you are hasty, too. Be quiet. Tomorrow. Don't you see?" the mother interposed in dismay. "Better come away." "He is raving," Razumihin cried tipsily. "Or how would he dare? Tomorrow all this nonsense will be over. Today he certainly did drive him away." "That was so. And Luzhin got angry too. He made speeches here, wanted to show off his learning, and he went out crestfallen." "Then it's true," cried Pulcheria Alexandrovna. "Goodbye till tomorrow, brother," said Donya compassionately. "Let's go, mother. Goodbye, Rodya." "Do you hear, sister?" he repeated after them, making a last effort. "I am not delirious. This marriage is an infamy. Let me act like a scoundrel, but you mustn't. One is enough. And though I am a scoundrel, I wouldn't own such a sister. It's me or Luzhin. Go now." "But you are out of your mind, despot," cried Razumihin. But Raskolnikov did not and perhaps could not answer. He lay down on the sofa and turned to the wall, utterly exhausted. Avdotia Romanovna looked with interest at Razumihin. Her black eyes flashed. Razumihin positively started at her glance. Pulcheria Alexandrovna stood overwhelmed. Nothing could induce me to go, she whispered in despair to Razumihin. I will stay somewhere here. Escort Donya home. You'll spoil everything, Razumihin answered in the same whisper, losing patience. Come out onto the stairs anyway. Nastasia, show a light. I assure you, he went on in a half whisper on the stairs, that he was almost beating the doctor and me this afternoon. Do you understand? The doctor himself. Even he gave away and left him, so as not to irritate him. I remained downstairs on guard, but he dressed at once and slipped off, and he will slip off again if you irritate him at this time of night, and will do himself some mischief. What are you saying? And Avdotya Romanovna can't possibly be left in those lodgings without you. Just think where you are staying. That blackguard Pyotr Petrovich couldn't find you better lodgings. But you know, I've had a little to drink, and that's what makes me swear. Don't mind it. But I'll go to the landlady here, Pulcheria Alexandrovna insisted. I'll beseech her to find some corner for Donya and me for the night. I can't leave him like that. I cannot. This conversation took place on the landing just before the landlady's door. Nastasia lighted them from a step below. Razumihin was in extraordinary excitement. Half an hour earlier, while he was bringing Raskolnikov home, he had indeed talked too freely, but he was aware of it himself, and his head was clear in spite of the vast quantities he had imbibed. Now he was in a state bordering on ecstasy, and all that he had drunk seemed to fly to his head with redoubled effect. He stood with the two ladies, seizing both by their hands, persuading them and giving them reasons with astonishing plainness of speech, and at almost every word he uttered, probably to emphasize his arguments, he squeezed their hands painfully as in a vice. He started at Dotya Romanovna without the least regard for good manners. They sometimes pulled their hands out of his huge bony paws, but far from noticing what was the matter, he drew them all the closer to him. If they'd told him to jump head foremost from the staircase, he would have done it without thought or hesitation in their service. Though Pulcheria Alexandrovna felt that the young man was really too eccentric and pinched her hand too much. In her anxiety over her Rodia, she looked on his presence as providential and was unwilling to notice all his peculiarities. But though Avdotya Romanovna shared her anxiety and was not of timorous disposition, she could not see the glowing light in his eyes without wonder and almost alarm. It was only the unbounded confidence inspired by Nastasia's account of her brother's queer friend which prevented her from trying to run away from him and to persuade her mother to do the same. She realized too that even running away was perhaps impossible now. 10 minutes later, however, she was considerably reassured. It was characteristic of Razumihin that he showed his true nature at once, whatever mood he might be in, so that people quickly saw the sort of man they had to deal with.